There is a fire burning quietly within you, one that neither the noise of the world nor the chaos around you can extinguish. It is a fire that sets you apart, a force unseen but deeply felt, moving beneath the surface of your every thought and action. This fire is not accidental. It is a divine anointing, a sacred calling placed upon your very being. But beware, this anointing is dangerous, not because it brings destruction, but because it breaks the chains of ordinary life and challenges everything you thought was possible. It calls you to walk a path few dare to tread, a path that demands courage beyond measure and faith beyond understanding. If you have ever felt a strange restlessness, an undeniable pull towards something greater, something beyond your grasp, then know this: you are not merely chosen. You are dangerously anointed by God, and with that anointing comes signs, subtle, profound, and unmistakable. Today, I invite you to open your eyes and your heart to recognize these signs, for when you do, you will no longer live in the shadows of doubt and fear. Instead, you will step boldly into the fullness of your divine purpose. If you see these signs, you are dangerously anointed by God, the inner knowing as the divine signature. There is a sacred language spoken quietly within the chambers of your heart, a language beyond words, beyond the reach of the mind's logic. It is the voice of your soul, the whisper of the divine moving through your very being. This inner knowing is not learned or taught. It is felt, recognized, and embraced as an undeniable truth. It is the divine signature upon your life, the unmistakable mark that you are chosen, set apart, and dangerously anointed by God. When this inner knowing awakens, you cannot deny it. It is like the dawn breaking across a dark horizon, illuminating everything with clarity and purpose. You sense a certainty that is immune to circumstance, unaffected by the opinions of others, and untouched by the storms raging around you. This certainty is the anchor of your spirit, a proof that you are aligned with something infinitely greater than yourself. You might ask, how do I recognize this inner knowing? How do I distinguish it from mere wishful thinking or fleeting emotion? The answer is simple, yet profound. This knowing is accompanied by peace and power simultaneously. It is not a restless hope, nor a timid desire. It is a quiet confidence, a steady flame burning with divine authority. When you feel this, it is as if the universe itself bows in acknowledgment of your destined path. This inner knowing is often subtle at first. It may come as a gentle nudge, a soft impression, or a fleeting image in your mind's eye. But as you begin to listen, as you give it space and reverence, it grows stronger and more vivid. It will guide your steps with perfect precision, even when the road ahead is obscured by doubt and confusion. Consider the nature of this knowing as a gift. It is not something to be feared or doubted, but embraced as a sacred compass. It is the voice of God within you, calling you to awaken to your true identity and purpose. When you surrender to it, your life begins to transform from the ordinary to the extraordinary. But beware, this inner knowing is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage to trust a voice unseen, to follow a path uncharted. The world will tempt you to ignore it, to silence it with logic, fear, or skepticism. Yet the moment you dismiss this divine signal, you deny the very power that is meant to elevate you beyond limitation. You see, this inner knowing is the divine signature that sets you apart from those who merely drift through life. It is the mark of one who is dangerously anointed, a person who carries within them the creative power to shape reality, to shift destinies, and to manifest miracles. It is a call to live not as a victim of circumstance, but as a co-creator with the divine. In this knowing, you become a channel through which God moves in the world. Your thoughts, your desires, your imagination, all become sacred tools, energized by this divine presence within. You no longer rely on external validation or proof. Instead, you act from a place of inner authority, knowing that what you envision and believe will surely come to pass. Many mistake this inner knowing for arrogance or delusion, but it is neither. It is humility infused with strength. It is the recognition that you are an instrument of divine will, chosen to carry out a purpose beyond your own understanding. When you live in this state, you are protected and guided, even when the path appears uncertain. One of the most profound aspects of this inner knowing is its ability to silence fear. Fear thrives in uncertainty and doubt, but when you are anchored by this divine certainty, fear loses its grip. You walk forward not because you see every step clearly, but because you trust the hand that guides you. This trust is a declaration of faith, a faith born not from blind hope, but from an intimate experience of the divine presence within. As you cultivate this inner knowing, you begin to see your life through a new lens. Challenges become opportunities, failures become lessons, the ordinary moments pulse with sacred meaning. Your very existence becomes a testament to the power of God working through you. It is important to understand that this inner knowing will often conflict with the opinions and expectations of the world. You may find yourself standing alone, misunderstood, or even opposed by those who cannot see the vision you carry. This is the hallmark of the dangerously anointed, to stand firm in the face of opposition, to remain unshaken when the world demands conformity. Remember, the divine signature within you is a beacon, a light that attracts both allies and adversaries. The resistance you encounter is not a sign of failure, but confirmation that you are on the right path. The world resists what it cannot control or understand. Your inner knowing, however, remains unshaken because it flows from a source that is eternal and unchangeable. To nurture this inner knowing, you must learn to quiet the external noise and listen deeply to your own spirit. This requires stillness, reflection, and a willingness to step beyond the visible into the realm of faith and imagination. It is in this sacred space that the divine reveals itself most clearly. Begin each day with the awareness that you carry within you the signature of God. Speak to yourself with words of affirmation rooted in truth. I am chosen, I am anointed, I am guided by divine wisdom. These declarations are not mere affirmations, they are acknowledgments of your true identity and power. When doubt creeps in, return to this inner knowing. Anchor yourself in the certainty that the divine is at work through you, even when you cannot see the full picture. This faith is a shield, protecting you from despair and distraction. Know that the inner knowing is also a call to action. It will not leave you in complacency or passivity. Instead, it stirs a restless energy that demands you move forward, to create, to speak, to love, and to serve. The dangerously anointed do not wait for permission or perfect conditions. They act boldly, trusting that the divine will provide what is needed at every step. In embracing this inner knowing, you also embrace your divine authority to imagine your future as you desire it to be. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is the birthplace of reality. When you hold your vision with unwavering faith, you command the unseen forces of creation to align with your purpose. This is the sacred dance of faith and imagination, a partnership that defines those who are dangerously anointed. You imagine boldly because you know the power within you is greater than any obstacle. You trust deeply because your inner knowing is the voice of God whispering the truth of your destiny. So, if you have felt this inner knowing stirring within your soul, do not shrink back. Do not dismiss it as mere coincidence or wishful thinking. Recognize it as the divine signature upon your life, a sign that you are called, chosen, and dangerously anointed. Walk forward with courage and conviction, knowing that this inner voice is your greatest guide and your most powerful ally. In this knowing lies your freedom, your power, and the fulfillment of your divine purpose. And remember, the journey will not always be easy, but it will always be sacred. For when you walk in the light of your inner knowing, you carry the very presence of God within you, unstoppable, unshakable, and dangerously anointed. Unseen power in your imagination, within the quiet depths of your mind, lies a realm far more powerful than you have ever been taught to believe. This realm is not physical, not bound by time or space, yet it shapes every moment of your life. It is the sacred domain of your imagination, the invisible workshop where all realities are first conceived and born. To be dangerously anointed by God is to recognize this truth deeply, that your imagination is not merely a playground for dreams, but the very forge where your divine destiny is crafted. Many live their lives unaware of this tremendous power. They mistake imagination for fantasy, dismiss it as idle daydreaming or escapism. But this could not be further from the truth. Your imagination is a creative force of God itself, a sacred faculty entrusted to you to manifest your vision and bring heaven's purpose to earth. The moment you awaken to this reality, you step into the role of a creator, wielding power that is unseen yet undeniable. This unseen power in your imagination moves silently but steadily, drawing circumstances, people, and opportunities into alignment with the vision you hold. When you imagine vividly, with emotion and faith, you speak a language the universe understands, one that commands reality to conform to your inner world. The anointed do not wait passively for blessings. They imagine, knowing that what is imagined with conviction must take form. Imagine for a moment that your imagination is a seedbed, fertile and alive. Whatever you plant there, watered by your feelings and nourished by your belief, will sprout and grow. This growth may not always be visible immediately, but the unseen roots are spreading, taking hold beneath the surface, drawing from the divine soil. To doubt this power is to uproot your own destiny before it can bloom. This power is dangerous because it defies the logic of the natural world. It works quietly in the unseen long before the visible reality appears. The world may ridicule your visions, question your faith, or mock your hopes. But those who possess this anointing know that the imagination's decree cannot be undone by external disbelief. The invisible is the foundation upon which the visible is built. This unseen power also calls for discipline. It is not enough to casually entertain pleasant thoughts or fleeting desires. The imagination must be focused, cultivated with intention and persistence. Like a sculptor shaping clay, you must mold your inner vision with care, removing doubt and distraction until it shines clear and bright. Many stumble because they treat their imagination as a whimsy rather than a sacred tool. They entertain negative scenarios, fear, and uncertainty, unknowingly planting seeds of limitation. To be dangerously anointed means to guard your imagination fiercely, choosing only those visions that reflect your highest truth and divine purpose. The emotional intensity behind your imagining is what breathes life into the unseen. It is not enough to think a goal, you must feel it as already real. The power of feeling is the alchemy that transforms thought into reality. When you imagine with the conviction that the desired is present now, you command the universe to rearrange itself accordingly. This is why many anointed souls experience what others call miracles. These are simply the natural outcomes of a disciplined and faithful imagination, acting as a divine magnet to draw all necessary resources. What looks like chance or coincidence is the unfolding of your inner world made manifest. You must understand that this unseen power does not operate on wishful thinking or passive hope. It is an active, conscious force that requires your participation. You are invited to become a deliberate creator, shaping your destiny moment by moment through the images you dwell upon and the emotions you embrace. One of the greatest tests of this power is how you use it in times of trial. When circumstances appear contrary to your vision, do you falter and surrender to fear, or do you hold fast to your inner image of victory? The dangerously anointed choose to persevere, knowing that the external can never negate the unseen truth held within. This power in your imagination also grants you freedom from the chains of past limitations. No matter what your history, your background, or your current condition, you have the divine authority to imagine a new reality. Your imagination is the reset button, the fresh canvas upon which God's purpose for you can be painted anew. This is a revolutionary truth. The future is not fixed or predetermined. It is fluid, shaped by the ongoing creative act of your imagination. To be dangerously anointed is to hold this power with reverence and responsibility, knowing that your inner world is the blueprint for your external life. The unseen power within you is also a source of profound peace. When you understand that you are the master of your imagination, that your thoughts are seeds sown in divine soil, you no longer feel at the mercy of random events. Instead, you rest in the certainty that you are the author of your story, co-creating with the infinite. Your imagination connects you directly to the divine mind, the mind that conceived all that is. It is a sacred portal through which God's will is expressed in tangible form. When you align your imagination with this divine will, your life becomes a living testament to grace and power. To cultivate this power, begin each day by consciously imagining the reality you desire as already present. See it clearly in your mind's eye. Feel the emotions it stirs as if it is here now, and hold that vision unwaveringly. Let no doubt or contradiction enter this sacred space. In moments of quiet, practice dwelling in the feeling of your fulfilled vision. This practice is the key to unlocking the creative floodgates of your imagination. The more time you spend in this state, the more your external circumstances will begin to mirror the inner reality you have crafted. Be aware, too, that this power is contagious. Your imagination influences not only your own life, but the lives of those around you. When you carry this divine creative force, you become a beacon of possibility and hope, inspiring others to awaken to their own power. But with this power comes responsibility. The dangerously anointed must guard their imagination against negativity, fear, and despair. These forces can disrupt the creative flow and sow seeds of limitation. Instead, nourish your imagination with faith, love, and unwavering belief in the divine promise within you. Remember, the unseen power of your imagination is your greatest gift and your most potent weapon. It is the means by which God works through you to manifest miracles, break chains, and fulfill destiny. When you wield it with awareness and faith, no obstacle is insurmountable, no dream too great. So, if you sense this power stirring within you, this sacred ability to imagine and create, do not shy away. Embrace it boldly. Know that you are dangerously anointed by God, entrusted with the unseen creative force that shapes worlds and changes lives. Your imagination is the secret kingdom within, the divine spark that lights your path and summons your future. Nourish it, protect it, and let it guide you to the fulfillment of your highest calling. Strange trials and opposition when you are dangerously anointed by God, your journey is marked not only by moments of clarity and power, but also by trials. Strange, fierce, and seemingly unjust trials that test the very core of your faith and resolve. These trials are not accidents or random misfortunes. They are divine appointments, carefully designed to shape, refine, and prepare you for the destiny you are called to fulfill. The path of the anointed is never easy. It is a path of tension and conflict, where unseen forces rise in opposition, not to destroy you, but to reveal the strength that lies within. These trials act like the furnace of purification, intense, uncomfortable, yet absolutely necessary to burn away what is false and bring forth what is true. Often, the opposition you face will be confusing and strange. It may come from unexpected sources. People who once supported you may turn away. Circumstances that once favored you may suddenly shift. Inner doubts may arise at the most critical moments. These challenges are meant to stretch your spirit and force you to stand in your divine authority. Understand this clearly. Opposition is the hallmark of those who are dangerously anointed. When your life begins to disrupt the comfortable order of things, resistance is inevitable. The world resists change. It resists those who dare to live by a higher law, who move according to the whisper of the divine rather than the dictates of the crowd. This opposition may appear as external conflict, criticism, betrayal, loss, or as internal struggle, fear, confusion, despair. Both are tests, invitations to deepen your faith and sharpen your spiritual discernment. The trials reveal whether you are anchored in the divine knowing or merely clinging to surface beliefs. You might feel isolated or misunderstood, as if you are walking alone in a desert with no clear destination. But these moments are exactly where the anointing grows stronger. The desert is not a place of abandonment. It is a sacred classroom where your reliance on God is forged. When you face these strange trials without losing your peace, you demonstrate that your power is not dependent on comfort or ease, but on the divine presence within. Many stumble here because they expect their anointing to bring only blessings and favor. But true anointing often looks like hardship from the outside because it shakes the foundations of old ways, tearing down what no longer serves the divine plan. This dismantling feels like destruction, but it is actually preparation for a higher order of blessing. The key to navigating these strange trials is understanding their purpose. They are not punishments but assignments, divine calibrations to align you fully with your mission. Each obstacle is a teacher, revealing hidden weaknesses or areas where your faith needs to grow. When you embrace the trials with gratitude rather than resistance, you become a co-worker with God's refining process. You may ask, why must these trials come? Why not a smoother path? The answer lies in the nature of power and transformation. Just as gold must be purified by fire, so too must your spirit be tested to reveal its true brilliance. The trials are the crucible that separates the ordinary from the anointed. Moreover, opposition forces you to rely less on your own strength and more on the divine. It breaks the illusion of control and invites surrender, a surrender that is not defeat but the ultimate victory. When you release your need to control the outcome and trust the divine orchestration, you open yourself to supernatural guidance and intervention. Remember, the presence of opposition is itself a confirmation that you are dangerously anointed. Those who live safe, unchallenged lives rarely carry such power. The storms and resistance that come your way are indicators that you are on a path of great significance and impact. In the face of opposition, maintain the calm within the storm. This is your greatest weapon. When the world rages and doubts assail you, return to the inner sanctuary of peace that is your divine birthright. From this place you can respond with wisdom rather than reaction, with faith rather than fear. You are called to stand firm, like a mountain unshaken by the winds. This firmness is not stubbornness, but rootedness in the divine promise. When you stand immovable in your inner knowing, the opposition loses its power to discourage or defeat you. Do not be surprised if the trials also bring moments of intense spiritual clarity and revelation. Often, breakthroughs follow the fiercest battles. The divine uses these moments to elevate you into new realms of understanding and authority. What seems like a setback is often the prelude to a leap forward. It is also essential to recognize that you are not alone in these trials. The anointing connects you to a divine network of support angels, spiritual guides, and fellow believers who walk with you unseen. When you feel overwhelmed, call upon this invisible army. Their strength is available to you, reinforcing your courage and perseverance. When opposition arises from people, remember that their resistance may come from fear, ignorance, or their own wounds. You are not called to fight them in anger, but to respond with grace and unwavering faith. Your peace and integrity in the face of opposition are powerful testimonies of your anointing. Keep your vision clear and your heart steadfast. Do not allow the trials to blind you to your purpose. Hold on to the image of your fulfilled destiny, knowing that every challenge is a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. To the dangerously anointed, opposition is a sacred privilege, a sign that you carry a fire hot enough to melt resistance and transform the world. Embrace it, learn from it, and rise above it. This is the way of the warrior of light, the chosen one who carries the presence of God in every step. As you journey through these strange trials, remember, the refining fire is preparing you for a glory that far outweighs the temporary hardships. Your anointing is a living force, growing stronger with every test. When the trials are over, you will stand taller, shine brighter, and walk more boldly into the fullness of your divine calling. So welcome the opposition as a sign of your dangerous anointing. Let it awaken the warrior within, sharpen your faith, and deepen your trust. For it is through these strange and difficult trials that God's greatest power is revealed in you. Radical transformation through surrender. The path of the dangerously anointed is marked by one profound truth. Transformation begins not with struggle, but with surrender. This surrender is not defeat, it is not weakness or passivity, it is the radical act of yielding your will, your expectations, and your understanding to the divine presence that moves through you. In this surrender, true power is born, a power that transforms the ordinary into the miraculous and the broken into the whole. Many resist this call because surrender seems to contradict the natural desire to control outcomes and protect oneself. Yet those who are anointed know that control is an illusion, and the true mastery lies in letting go. Surrender is the sacred door that opens to the infinite reservoir of divine strength, wisdom, and grace. Radical transformation requires that you release the false self, the ego-driven identity that clings to fear, judgment, and limitation. This false self resists change because it fears loss and uncertainty. But surrender dissolves these fears, allowing the true self, the divine spark within you, to emerge fully. This process of surrender is deeply spiritual and intensely personal. It involves trusting a reality beyond the physical senses, a reality where God's presence is active and sovereign. When you surrender, you are not giving up your power. Rather, you are exchanging the limited power of the human mind for the limitless power of the divine. The dangerously anointed walk this path with eyes wide open. They understand that surrender is an ongoing practice, not a one-time event. Each moment offers an opportunity to release control and align with the flow of divine will. This alignment creates a radical shift, altering not only circumstances, but the very fabric of your being. When you surrender, you enter into a sacred partnership with God. You acknowledge that your role is to dream, to imagine, and to act in faith, while God orchestrates the unfolding of your vision. This partnership transcends human effort and invites miracles to take place. Surrender also opens the door to profound peace. When you stop resisting and start trusting, the inner turmoil that once consumed you begins to dissolve. The restless striving gives way to a calm assurance, a peace that surpasses all understanding. This peace is a sign that you are walking in the power of your anointing. Yet surrender is not passive acceptance of whatever comes. It is an active, dynamic state of being. You surrender your anxiety, your need to manipulate outcomes, and your doubts. In return, you receive clarity, guidance, and the courage to move forward, even when the path is unclear. The radical transformation through surrender often manifests in unexpected ways. Doors you thought were closed suddenly open. People appear to support your mission. Resources flow when you need them most. These are not coincidences. They are the natural results of your alignment with divine power. This transformation also affects your relationships. As you surrender, you begin to attract people who resonate with your higher purpose. Toxic influences fall away, making space for divine connections. Your presence becomes a beacon of hope and light, drawing others into their own transformation. The process of surrender challenges your deepest attachments. You may be called to let go of old identities, careers, or relationships that no longer serve your highest good. This can be painful, but it is necessary for the new life God is birthing in you. The dangerously anointed do not cling to the past. They embrace the unknown with faith. In surrender, you also discover humility, a humility that is not weakness but strength. It is the strength to admit that you do not have all the answers and the courage to trust in God's infinite wisdom. This humility opens the channels for divine revelation and guidance. Your imagination plays a crucial role in this transformation. As you surrender, you allow your imagination to be shaped by divine inspiration rather than fear or limitation. You begin to see yourself and your future through God's eyes, full of possibility, purpose, and glory. The radically transformed life is marked by a new kind of freedom, the freedom to live authentically, boldly, and with unwavering faith. You are no longer bound by the need for approval or the fear of failure. Instead, you move with confidence, knowing that you are held and empowered by the divine. This transformation is not always visible to others. Sometimes it is a quiet shift in your heart, a deepening of your spiritual awareness, or a growing sense of joy and peace. Other times it manifests in tangible changes in your life circumstances. Either way, it is unmistakable and irreversible. You may face moments of doubt or temptation to reclaim control. These moments are tests of your surrender. When they come, return to the practice of releasing your will and choosing trust. Each time you do, your anointing grows stronger and your transformation deepens. Remember, radical transformation through surrender is a divine process. You do not have to force it or figure it out alone. When you yield, you invite God to work miracles in your life, to renew your mind, and to restore your spirit. To nurture this surrender, begin by cultivating stillness in your daily life. In silence, bring your fears and desires before God. Offer them up without resistance. Practice listening for the quiet promptings of your heart. the gentle guidance of the divine. Speak words of surrender and faith. I release my need to control. I trust in your perfect plan. I yield to your wisdom and power. These declarations are acts of faith that strengthen your connection to the divine and deepen your transformation. Know that every step of surrender is a step toward your fullest expression as the dangerously anointed one. Each moment of yielding is a breakthrough, a turning point that brings you closer to the destiny God has designed for you. Your radical transformation through surrender is a testimony to the world that true power lies not in force, but in faith, not in resistance, but in yielding, not in control, but in divine trust. This is the secret of the dangerously anointed, the secret that sets you apart and propels you forward. Embrace this path with courage and grace. Let surrender be your daily practice, your spiritual discipline, and your source of strength. In doing so, you become a living example of God's transformative power, a beacon of hope, a vessel of miracles, and a herald of divine purpose. Signs of divine favor in your life. To be dangerously anointed by God means you are walking under a mantle of divine favor that cannot be earned by human effort, but is bestowed through grace and spiritual alignment. This favor manifests in ways that may be subtle or unmistakably powerful, yet always unmistakably real. Recognizing these signs is essential, for they confirm your place in God's plan and encourage you to persevere with unwavering faith. Divine favor is not merely luck or coincidence. It is the active expression of God's goodwill and blessing upon your life. It marks you as chosen, set apart, and empowered for a unique purpose. When you begin to notice these signs, you can be certain that the invisible hand of God is moving on your behalf, clearing the way for your destiny to unfold. One of the first signs of divine favor is an unusual ease in areas where you once struggled. Situations that used to drain your energy suddenly shift. Obstacles that seemed insurmountable start to dissolve, and doors previously closed begin to open without apparent effort. This ease is a divine signature, a sign that you are aligned with a higher flow, moving in harmony with God's will. You may also notice unexpected provision. Resources arrive just when you need them, whether financial support, opportunities, connections, or insight. These provisions are not random gifts, but strategic blessings designed to equip you for the mission ahead. Divine favor moves with perfect timing, never early and never late, demonstrating that your journey is ordered by a power far beyond human understanding. Another unmistakable sign is the presence of divine peace amidst turmoil. When external circumstances seem chaotic or threatening, yet your heart remains calm and centered, you are experiencing the peace of God's favor. This peace is a fortress that shields you from fear and doubt, allowing you to move forward confidently despite appearances. Divine favor also often manifests through relationships. You will attract people who support and uplift your vision, mentors who guide you, partners who stand with you, and allies who amplify your impact. These connections are not accidental, but orchestrated by the divine to create a network of strength and encouragement. In some cases, divine favor appears as protection from harm or setbacks that affect others but somehow bypass you. This protection is a shield that surrounds you, preserving your purpose and ensuring that you remain on course. It may not always be visible, but it is always present, guarding your anointing from forces that seek to derail it. You might experience moments of sudden clarity or insight, where complex problems resolve or decisions become clear without laborious effort. These moments are whispers from the divine, guiding your steps and confirming that you are walking in favor. Trusting these intuitive prompts is part of living under divine guidance. Sometimes divine favor shows up as a deepening of spiritual gifts and intuition. You find yourself more attuned to the needs of others, more sensitive to divine direction, and more capable of manifesting miracles. This growth is evidence that your anointing is active and expanding, preparing you for greater works. The presence of divine favor often brings a boldness to your spirit. You move with confidence and authority, no longer timid or hesitant. This boldness is not arrogance, but the assurance that you are backed by a higher power. It propels you to take risks and step into your calling without fear. You may also notice a renewed sense of purpose and clarity about your mission. Doubts and confusion give way to a strong conviction about your role in God's plan. This clarity fuels your perseverance and focus, enabling you to overcome distractions and setbacks. The sign of divine favor is sometimes marked by the fulfillment of long-held desires in unexpected ways. Dreams that seem distant or impossible begin to materialize, often in forms more glorious than imagined. This fulfillment is a confirmation that you are on the path ordained for you and that God's promises are coming to pass. Divine favor is also reflected in your growing capacity to forgive and love, even those who oppose you. This expansion of your heart is a sign that you are being transformed by grace, reflecting the nature of God more clearly. It demonstrates that your anointing is not just about power but also about purity and compassion. Recognizing these signs requires spiritual sensitivity and discernment. The dangerously anointed learn to listen to the subtle movements of grace and to interpret the unfolding of events as divine communication. This awareness strengthens faith and encourages a deeper surrender to the divine flow. It is crucial to remember that divine favor does not exempt you from challenges or trials. Rather, it empowers you to navigate them victoriously. When you encounter difficulties, look for the hidden blessings and the ways favor is working behind the scenes. This perspective transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth. The favor of God also calls for gratitude and humility. Acknowledge the source of your blessings and remain open to continuous transformation. Divine favor is a sacred trust, not a prize to hoard but a gift to steward wisely and share generously. Living in the awareness of divine favor inspires bold action and unwavering faith. You take steps toward your vision with the confidence that the unseen is working on your behalf. This faith activates greater miracles and aligns you more closely with your highest calling. In the final analysis, divine favor is the fruit of a life surrendered to God's will and cultivated through faithful imagination, perseverance through trials, and radical surrender. It is the hallmark of those dangerously anointed, those who move beyond mere survival to manifest the fullness of God's purpose on earth. When you see these signs in your life, ease where once was struggle, provision when you least expect it, peace amidst chaos, and connections that lift you higher, recognize them as divine confirmations. They are the fingerprints of God, marking you as chosen, anointed, and equipped to fulfill a destiny greater than you can imagine. Walk boldly in this favor. Let it fuel your vision, strengthen your faith, and deepen your surrender. Know that you are dangerously anointed, and the favor of God is your eternal companion and shield.